Good afternoon. This is Ken Long at Tortoise Capital. I want to give a overview of how the Advanced Swing Trading Workshop website will work for us at tortoise.basecampheadquarters.com. What you'll see when you log into tortoisebasecampheadquarters.com is a list of all the different projects that you are assigned with. And so many of you will have the Tortoise Mastermind. You should have the spreadsheets only, and you should have the Advanced Swing Trading Workshop. Just in passing, I use Basecamp as a way to manage my coaching programs, various workshop clusters. We use this to manage our research and live trading workshops and projects each year. I use spreadsheets only to distribute updated copies of my spreadsheets. Jeffrey's using the river story, for example, as a way to update the narrative this year on that metaphor. The Tortoise Mastermind is one we just use as a collection of good ideas and ongoing discussions. And so what you would do is go to the Advanced Swing Trading Workshop. Probably comes up in overview. This is really an update of activities that have occurred. Messages is a listing of ongoing messages that it can be threaded. Assignment, you can assign these to different categories too to do a filtering. So when we're going to use partner conversations, when we get into small groups, you have the ability to do focused conversations with your partners. I don't use the to-dos and the calendar. It's more detail than I need. And I don't use the chat or the time function. I do, however, what we use is Campfire for chat instead, so I'll show that in a second. So in the write boards, these are editable threaded discussions that are very, very useful. I'm going to go through these in detail. I just want to briefly hit the file section. Files is where I hang all sorts of different files as we go. And again, you can categorize these and you can find them uploaded by different people who are participating at various times. So if you wanted to find just the files I uploaded, for example, you would hit my name and you would get just those. So anybody can upload files. So I really want to spend more time on the write boards because you'll see that that's where the real power of this is. So the introduction. Comes up with a concept of the workshop for 2018. When I want to edit something on a write board, all I do is hit Edit Page. It gives me the editable text. I can make my text changes. If I want to save it as a new version so we can roll these back, I would just click it and save it down here. If I wanted to not save it as a separate iteration, I would just hit minor edit. If I wanted to alert everybody that a change had been made, you would then get an email if I click that for you. So let's save the newest version. Now we're back on that. Now, in student introductions, this is where I would like for the active participants to add a little paragraph summary and to start looking for folks that you might want to work with. And I'm asking each of you to put your email address in there. You can add comments. I cut and pasted Mike's into the edit page. So if you wanted to add your information here, you would just go down to number 4, type, save the version. Sorry. Save the newest version. And now you can see that we've got this. I said, oh, I don't really like that I spelled that wrong. I could just go back to edit page, scroll down to that section, delete it out of there, minor edit, save over the current version, and now we're back to normal. Going back to the workshop. Now, Q&As per lesson. What we use this one for is a place to register your questions for each of the weekly lessons. And again, if you had a question for lesson 1, which we're going to work in a couple weeks, you would just come in here and type question 1. Save over the current version. And then we have that there. What I will use that is like a couple days before the weekend webinar, I'll just go in here, collect all the questions, and make sure I can add in an organized presentation for you. I'm going to come back now to the video lessons. That's where the bulk of the material is. I just want to show a couple things, some bonus material. These are collections from some other in-person workshops that I've done, and some prep files, and for the strategic thinking. If you go to these websites and then use this password, you'll get some more additional peripheral information. Not necessary for purposes of this one, but I like to give you access to extra material if you're so interested. Okay, so let's come back now to the video lessons. So these are the weekly webinar transcripts from the 2016 workshop. So I did in 2016 was a set of 12 weekend sessions. And at the start of each one of those lessons, I made specific commentaries about questions and answers and topics of interest. And so what we will do is we will make use of those, because a lot of those, all of them are still very good. And so what I would like you to do is for each lesson, I would like you to review these videos first, then come back to session 1 and listen to that one. Then any questions that come out of the intro plus the lesson, you would then record on the question and answer website. So, and similarly, lesson 2, the third week of January, you would listen to the 0 states 1 and 2, listen to those presentations, come back, hit the individual psychology highlights mini lecture, and then any questions that you have, you would then put on the Q&A, and then I would answer them in our weekend webinars. And what I will do is build a second section so that these are all the 2016 transcripts. I will add recordings of the Q&As and then start building out a new set of presentations, which I will put right underneath the weekly webinar transcripts. Now, what I'm also going to do is put in one place the YouTube weekend report reviews. I'm going to post them in here. You can subscribe to that YouTube channel, but I'm going to put the links here so that you have some continuity and one place to find all of the lessons. Now, you can go ahead in these lessons at your own pace and go faster if you so desire. Nothing wrong with that. And then just put your notes into the question and answer portion on that right board, and I will get to them as we go through the course. So you can, if you want to read ahead in the course, you can certainly do that. The final thing I would just show on this is in lesson 0. What I did in 2016 was put together a live swing portfolio and then manage that several times each week. And we did a 6-week portfolio management was 64R. Each of these is applying those advanced principles we're going to study in action. I actually think it would be useful for you to go through these. If you are a top-down visual learner, you may get an awful lot of goodness by front-loading your study by looking at that portfolio update. You're going to see a lot of ideas and issues in practice developed using that RLCO Bollinger Band framework, and there were some elements of pinch and stretch involved in there. And then you will also see mechanical systems that are managed according to the RLCO BB framework. And I think if you were to just watch those in sequence, this would be a very nice top-down view of what it looks like to apply these principles in action. So if you started with those, and then we go through the lessons one at a time to fill in the details, I think you would be well served, as opposed to going through all the lessons and then coming back to that. I don't think that would be as effective. Now, in addition to this one, my intention is to manage a live portfolio in 2018 going forward as well. What I would like you also to do are to take those systems and patterns that you feel comfortable with and paper trade those and start managing the portfolio and trying to learn by doing as we go. I have found that to be the most effective way to discover your questions and answers about practical application of this material. So I really want you from week one to begin managing your own paper traded portfolio and start applying the patterns that you know and the ones that you can reason your way through. You could start with the December 30th weekend report review. That has about 40 minutes of material where I go through the report in detail, find a bunch of symbols that meet my requirements for preparation. You could practice preparing those and start looking for the patterns that you like and start paper trading that portfolio. I think you would benefit extensively from that. So all of these videos are available to you as we go. The right boards are there for you to edit. The small groups page from the student introductions, I would encourage you to find one or two other people that seem to resonate with you and maybe work with them as accountability partners, and we'll be good to go. Now let me shift over to the chat room for those of you that may not have used it as much. I want to show you how we can, how I intend to use that. Now, when you go to tortoise.campfirenow.com, that's our chat room, and you go to the lobby, you should see 3 rooms. Closed Trade Journal is where we have an ongoing set of closed case studies with markups. You feel free to use that as an online trading journal location. There's a lot of good ideas in there. The primary and intraday mastermind room is where we do most of our talking for intraday trading, and there's some swing trading discussions going on. You can see Bob Rourke and I are in that room. And then the swing trading mastermind is really where I would like to see you guys using, there's a bear, is where I want to see you posting one trade frame, a setup, each week, and one closed case study with markup for comment each week. Now, you may trade more than that in your paper trading, but I would like you to get into the habit of setting up your best idea and frame that trade and post the image file in there, and then post one closed trade frame that's marked up. And let's, here's, Bob has posted a 3-minute chart in here. Let me find, as an example of of the search function. Let's suppose that you are interested in the 5-day down pattern. If you type 5DD in the search function, what you're going to find is every reference to 5DD in 7 to 8 years of the chat room. Everything that has this little symbol, like a ping or a JPEG or a GIF, would be an image file. So here's one from Dave Clues from May 7th. Shrink this down a little bit so we can see. Not cherry picked, that was just the first one on the list. Here was a 5DD pattern. Dave bought at 5 cents above the high. He bought sold the 2-day low, and made 5% in 5 days. So that's an example of a closed trade. On the day that the entry was made, or actually on the day of the setup, that would be your last bar, and then show your trade frame of how you propose to get in, what your initial stop would be, and then as the trade unfolds, you get a closed case study, and then post that in the chat room itself, right? So the way you do that would be to upload a file. You simply click that category, choose file, and then upload it, and then here's one. Let's see what we have. Here was one from Lisa, this looks like. And this was a channeling, so it was oversold here. So she buys the open here and becomes overbought here and then exit. So nice. Working as designed. I will share with you a set of the codes that I like to use, this standard naming nomenclature so that we can find the files easily. I will share that with you in another in a file that I upload. But that allows us basically to use system, date, symbol, comment as a way to allow us to standardize and then to be able to find when we're using the search function. So very powerful. If you wanted to use triple screen, you would hit TS. If you wanted to search for Z3P, like one of my current favorites, just type Z3P. Let's see if we can find one that has a case study. Here's one. So Z3P 2017 1013 Nike, and this is a super pinch. So here was the case where Nike had gotten into a super pinch. All the regression lines are in the channel, extremely pinched, and then the breakouts of that pinch box. And this actually led to a nice move up for us. So Z3 pinch also works on a day trading. These are probably intradays, but the principles are the same. So a Z3 pinch, yeah, this is a 1 minute. But on the day of execution, these could just as easily be daily bars. So super pinch, short when it violates that box, cover at the crossover here on the MACD histogram, buy the breakout, or sell the breakout, I should say. Rolls up, crosses over, cash, go long, scratch, go short because we're below the 270, we're below the dotted line, and we buy the cross or sell the crossover to the downside, short, cash easy, buy the entry, sell the fade when it crosses back over. That's just like downtown. That's the advanced swing course in a 30-second case study. We're going to use this MACD histogram 10, 30, and 5, with the Bollinger Bands 30 and 1 on the signal line um, for maximum advantage. That will help us refine our interpretation of the RLCO framework. You're going to see a lot of that in the weeks and months ahead. So that's everything I wanted to cover on this one. Thanks for your kind attention. Send me your questions.